In this video, you're going to see exactly how I grew $25,000 all the way to $250,000 in real estate in just about 4 years. I'm going to break down all of my strategies so you can see exactly what I did step by step, and you can begin to replicate some of these strategies in your own real estate journey. So if you end up sticking to the end of the video, you're going to learn step by step how exactly I started, where I started, how I financed each properties, and how I got to $250,000 today. So grab your coffee, sit back, relax, and start planning how you can reach your first $100,000 in real estate. By the way, I'm not here to sell you anything. I don't have any course or class to sell. My only goal is to empower, educate, and share my own experience so you can begin to replicate some of these strategies and start investing. My name is Imoni here. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, I talk about personal finance, investing in the stock market, real estate, as well as credit card. And as you know, this is a brand new channel, so please feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. And let's get to the video. So it all began in 2017 when I only had $25,000 cash and I wanted that money to do something for me. I wanted that money to go out and work for me, work to bring more money. At that point, I already had a $50,000 stock portfolio, including my IRAs, so I didn't want to put all my eggs in one basket. I wanted to do something different. And I have been managing a 4-unit building for my family since I was 18, so I was very familiar with the real estate and the finance and the numbers behind it. So I decided I'll buy a rental property and use this $25,000 as a down payment and get a mortgage for the remaining balances. After looking at multiple properties and getting rejected over and over, I finally came across a bank-owned foreclosed property listed for $49,900. Since it's a foreclosed property, they only wanted cash offers. So I called up my real estate agent, we looked at the property and made a cash offer, wait for it, $1 above the asking price. So our offer was $49,901, just in case if anyone else offers at the asking price. Sure enough, 3 days later, the bank accepted the offer at $49,901. As part of submitting the offer, they wanted proof of funding that I do have $50,000 to buy the house. I gave them the statement from my brokerage account. So they noticed, okay, I have $25,000 in my checking account and $50,000 brokerage account. They thought, you know what, this kid has the money to buy. So they accepted the offer. But I now have a bigger problem to come up with the remaining $25,000 to buy this property without liquidating my stock portfolio. So I did the most stupidest thing, dumbest thing that anyone can do. I borrowed from credit card. Even Dave Ramsey would start yelling at me if he hears me right now.
I mean, stupid on parade. That's what this is.
I always had good credit and good credit lines. I noticed between my Chase Freedom as well as my Citi dividend card, I have 0% APR balance transfers up to 15 months or 18 months. So I could borrow almost like $50,000 for paying 2% balance transfer fee for 15 months. Since I already had $25,000, I only borrowed $30,000 from the credit card, so I ended up with $55,000 in cash. I was able to use that money to buy the property at $50,000 as well as pay a couple $1,000 for the closing cost. Once the property closed, at a first glance, I thought the property would only require $15,000 to renovate and get everything back to normal and functioning. However, the property did have missing doors, missing light fixtures, missing appliance, bad walls, damaged flooring, bad carpeting, bad everything basically. The entire renovation ended up costing me $45,000, 3 times more than what I estimated. But it was all cosmetic. There was no structural work needed for this place. Within the first month of closing, I spent $5,000 to renovate the second floor bathroom and kitchen to get it functioning and back to normal and paint the bedroom where I was staying. That's pretty much it I did on the second floor. And I started to focus on the first floor at that point to get it renovated, get it going so I can potentially rent it out and start collecting rent to subsidize some of the renovation cost. For the most part, I was actually cash flowing the renovation cost from my 9-to-5 jobs. I was lucky enough, I actually had a full-time job and that paid pretty decent and I was able to pay for the renovation. Within the first 4 months, I was able to rent out the first floor unit for $900 per month. Plus, I moved into the second floor unit, so I was also saving another $900 per month that I didn't have to pay in rent. So technically, the property was already bringing in about $1,800 per month by then. Now, back to that $30,000 I borrowed from credit card. I know borrowing that $30,000 from credit card was stupid. It was like playing with fire. And I somehow convinced myself that it was a good debt. It was a debt worth risking. It was a debt that I was using to buy an asset that would potentially not only bring more money, but will go up in value. At that point, I had no car loan, no student loan, and I reduced my expenses to bare minimum. So I can continue to pay for the renovation and keep paying off the credit card debt within 15 months of timeline. However, just in case if I was not able to cash flow and pay off the credit card balance in full within the 15-month period, I did have a backup plan to get a home equity line of credit to pay off the credit card. So if I couldn't pay it off myself from my 9-to-5 job, my goal was I'll apply for a home equity line once everything is renovated, done. So in the event that I was not able to pay it off, if I took the money from home equity line of credit, I would be paying 3% interest versus paying 20% interest to a credit card. Fast forward 16 months, I somehow was able to cash flow and pay off the credit card debt I had. That was $30,000 plus the renovation cost because I kept my expenses bare minimum. So I started with $25,000. After 16 months, I am now left with a duplex that is free and clear of debt, and it's worth about $140,000 at that point. So technically, that's how I made my first $100,000. But now that I have an open line of credit, what's next? So since I have a over $100,000 line of credit against the house, I decided to do something with it. And I went shopping with that money. After months and months of searching, I finally found another duplex that made sense, that was within my budget. It was a small duplex with 2 units, was already collecting $1,600 per month. So the day this property came to the market, it went under contract. However, the first buyers or the potential buyers, their mortgage did not go through. So the property came back to the market within about 30 days. That's when I jumped in. So their asking price was $130,000 and I offered at $125,000, but somehow we ended up meeting at the middle at $127,500. So now that the second property was under contract, I actually had zero money in my account. I did not have any money. I did not have any cash at all besides the open line of credit. So I applied for a mortgage with the local credit union and they asked me to pay $25,000 down payment since it's an investment property. And they also asked me for proof of funding. How am I going to pay the 25% down payment? So again, I gave them the statement from my brokerage account. By then, I had a $60,000 balance in my brokerage account. And they were under the impression that I was going to liquidate the brokerage account and pay for the down payment for that second investment property. However, I had no intention of liquidating the stock portfolio because this is the portfolio that can help me qualify for a mortgage over and over in the future. So I did not touch the brokerage account at all. However, I did take $35,000 from the line of credit I had opened against the first property. And I used that money to pay for a 25% down payment for the second property. So I now owned second property that was 100% financed. 25% came from the home equity line of credit I had against the first house, and the other 75% came from a mortgage that I took against the second property. But on a positive note, before I even closed on this property, I was advertising it for rent. So I already had tenants lined up to see this property on the day I closed. And within a couple of days, I already had a tenant that was lined up to take the units. So fast forward 6 months, I decided to sell the first property for $135,000, which I started the property with $25,000. However, I did have to pay back the $35,000 that I took as the line of credit. So I was left with $100,000 cash and the second property at that point. So now that I'm in similar position again, I have a one duplex that's fully rented out and I have $100,000 cash. What's next? After months and months and months of searching, I finally found my third property. I found a property that was listed for $130,000, but it did need a lot of updates, especially to the bathroom and kitchen. So after buying the property for $130,000, I spent another $10,000 to renovate the bathroom and the kitchen for both units. Both of the units already had tenants, so I just made the update in the bathroom and kitchen to keep them happy. They were pretty good tenants. So by this time, I was pretty financially stable. I was cash flowing my life with my 9-to-5, and I did not have to touch any of the money from the rental units. After buying the third property, well, second now, since I sold the first one, I was left with another $50,000 burning a hole in my pocket. So I went shopping again and found my fourth property. Well, third actually, sorry. So by this time, I found this property that was listed for $199,000, but there were so many people competing for this property. So I made an offer. I only zoomed through the unit within like 5 minutes. Like I seen the entire building up and down within 5 minutes because there were so many people outside and I didn't want to waste anyone's time. So I just zoomed through, didn't pay attention to most of the things. I'm like, you know what, overall it looks good. It looks pretty decently renovated. So they accepted and we had the contract signed for $214,000. However, the day before closing, I noticed the first floor unit had no closet space. Like there were no closet in that first floor unit at all. So I decided to call off the deal. I said, you know what? This is wrong. How can you call these bedrooms when there are no closet space? And I said, I want out. I want my deposit back and I'm out. Like, let me out of here. I don't want this property at all anymore. But they wanted to negotiate at that point. We started negotiating back and forth and we came to an agreement where the seller would credit me $11,500 at the closing table, which basically reduced the down payment that I had to bring to the table for this deal. So it actually reduced my down payment to $30,762.83. And after closing, I spent roughly about $3,000 to add 3 closets, 2 in the 2 bedrooms and 1 in the kitchen. Now imagine, this is a $214,000 house and I only bought it for $30,700. That's all the money I paid out of pocket to get control of this building. That's the power of leverage. Again, this is another property I started advertising way before I even closed on the house. So by the day I closed on the house, I already had people lined up to take the units. Within a couple of days, I was able to rent out both units with pretty decent tenants. So let's recap. I started my real estate journey with $25,000 in 2017. By October 2020, I closed on the 4th property, but I sold one of them. So I was left with 3 properties at that point, and I was left with $15,000 to buy some Tesla stocks. So now let's look at how much these 3 properties are worth right now. According to Zillow, the second property is worth about $175,000, which is the market value. And I have roughly about $87,479.51 loan against it. So therefore, my equity is about $87,304.51. And property number 3, which I bought for $130,000 plus closing cost, and I spent $10,000 to renovate the kitchen and the bathroom. And the current market value is $200,000. But I do have a mortgage against it, which is $96,576.60. So which brings my equity value to $103,424.40. That's how much equity I have on the second building right now. And the last property I bought in October 2020 for $202,500, plus I spent another $3,000 to add the closet space. The current market value is $240,000, and I do have a mortgage against it, which current balance is $176,808.77, which brings my equity value to $63,191.23. So let's add up all the equities I have in these 3 different properties. Property number 1, I currently have $87,304.51 equity. Property number 2 is $103,424.40. And property number 3, $63,191.23. If I add all 3 of them up, it's $253,920.14. That's almost $250,000. Remember, I started the entire journey with $25,000 cash. So now that I have $250,000 equity in between these 3 different properties, I know some of you can say, you know what? I can go out, refinance them, take the money out, and use that money to buy more properties. But for right now, I'm not interested in adding any more properties to my portfolio. I'm quite busy right now. Plus, I'm trying to do this YouTube channel right now. So it's keeping me busy enough along with my full-time job. So now that you know my entire real estate strategy, going from $25,000 to $250,000, I feel like this is fairly simple, straightforward strategy that anyone can replicate. There are channels like Bigger Pockets, as well as Graham Stephan. In his early days, he covered so many real estate videos like how to buy your first property. This doesn't have to be rocket science. Anyone can replicate and implement this in their own real estate journey. Obviously, it's not easy. It's going to require a lot of research, a lot of work, a lot of blood and sweat, but it can be done. I feel like if I could do it, almost anyone can do it. And I have done this while working and maintaining my full-time job in 9 to 5 on a regular basis. So with that in mind, if you guys are into real estate content, investing in the stock market or credit card, please feel free to subscribe to the channel and smash the like button, as this is a brand new channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.